Live from the part of YouTube that just doesn't give a fuck anymore. It is the Zankoku Tenshi show. The show that is not afraid to spit in the wind. Oh god! Oh, it's in my eye! Oh shit! Oh man! Ah, my eye! Oh, and here's your host, a man who at least has one good eye, Zankoku Tenshi.
Hello everybody in the internet, into the interwebs. It is I, Zankoku Tenshi, and welcome to the Zankoku Tenshi show. Hopefully now there's actual audio, as opposed to what happened yesterday with the stream of fail, the stream of sadness and depression. Anyways, welcome to my show. I'm Zankoku Tenshi, and I've got a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. And as always, anyone can go ahead and chat right here, ask me questions, make statements, insult my intelligence, whatever. It's all good. Anyways, so let's get right into it. Hopefully we have audio. Anyone want to chime in with that? Feel free to just say, hey, I can't hear you. Anyways, so the first thing we want to talk about, and honestly, I think I would do this in segments, and so this is going to be called The Big Talk, where I get to talk about something really, really important that is weighing on me, and this has actually been weighing on me for quite a while. And a lot of stuff that's been going on has really just built up and boiled up into this situation. And that is the online outrage mob and the damage it deals. The way that things are going online is just not sustainable. So let's just get right into it. There has been going on for a while, over the last several years, a tactic on one side of the political spectrum where they would find something that someone said, something that someone wrote on a blog, a Facebook page, done in a video, whatever. They would find something and they would use that to destroy them. They would use that to impugn their integrity, and to basically get something political out of it. It's kind of a form of terrorism in a way. And the thing is that after a while, when one side's doing it and starts becoming really effective, the other side of the political spectrum, who may have been a little, unwilling to go and do that kind of thing, play a tit for tat, if you will, decides that, well, it's enough is enough. It's time for us to do the same thing. And then what happens is you get that situation happening, and then the other side is like, well, wait, hold on, and then they end up escalating, and then the other side ends up escalating, and eventually you get a gigantic mess of basically gotcha situations all over the place, and it's starting to come to a head. So several months back, Roseanne Barr, I don't know if she even goes by that last name anymore, but whatever, Roseanne, she was a very successful comedian, had her own show on ABC back in, I believe, the 90s. Very popular show. It lasted for many, many seasons. ABC decided to bring it back, bring the show back, and it was popular. It had good ratings. But then along comes a moment where Roseanne, who honestly, anyone who has even paid a little bit of attention to Roseanne in the last several years, she's kind of crazy. She's kind of crazy. I mean, she didn't seem very stable person. Anyways, she goes on a Twitter rant insulting Valerie Jarrett, whatever, former Obama administration person, and she used an insult that was either likening to like an ape or a gorilla or something like that. In Roseanne's defense, she said that she was just using an insult and didn't know that Valerie was black. And to be fair, I didn't know she was black. I heard she was born in Iran, so I figured Iranian. However, apparently she's black. And, of course, there is, in this country, a history of racists using comparisons to primates, chimps, monkeys, and stuff when trying to degrade and attack black people. Because, it's the connotations of they're not as evolved or, garbage like that. Anyway, so yeah, there's a history of that, and there is a sensitivity to that. And honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know Roseanne enough to know whether, I suspect that she didn't know because, come on, let's face it, who does research when we're about to insult someone? But she insulted the person. It can be perceived as racially insensitive, and the Outrage Mob came out with their knives and their pitchforks, and Roseanne lost her job. Her show was canceled, and even her old show that was in syndication was pulled from several different places syndicating it. So, yeah. And it was a mess. And the sad thing is that Roseanne wasn't the person, the only person getting punished for this stupid tweet. It was all the other actors and actresses that worked on the show, all the writers, the showrunners, the directors, the cameramen, everyone who was working on that show, who are just trying to get a paycheck, trying to make ends meet, trying to just live their lives. All of them, their lives kind of got flipped upside down, and they've got to scramble to get some work. And I'm sure probably a lot of them are able to do so, but some of them may not be fortunate enough to get some jobs. Oh my gosh, I'm totally messing this stuff up. But anyways, and so you have these situations where you have these consequences that maybe they weren't thinking, because what they were thinking is like, we need to hurt Roseanne, we need to destroy Roseanne. Roseanne did something that we don't like. We probably didn't like her to begin with because she's a Trump supporter. She's was very boisterous about that, and so she was an enemy, and she needs to be destroyed. The problem is, okay, you destroyed your enemy, and now all of a sudden you've got a bunch of people that are casualties of your hunt, that had nothing to do with this, who were just doing their jobs, just trying to make a living, and you've upended their lives. And what happens is, everyone who liked Roseanne didn't think that this was fair, all of a sudden go, well, fuck that, we're going to play by those rules. And you get what happened to James Gunn. James Gunn, writer, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy's movies, the first two. He wrote the script for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He was set to direct, and then all of a sudden, some people found some very questionable tweets that he called jokes, and he ends up getting fired. He's no longer director. It's up in the air whether they're still going to use his script, if he's going to have any involvement with this project. Nobody knows, and there is this kind of air of the unknown about the project now, about what's going to happen. It's kind of in the air now. Dave Bautista, who plays Drax, has said that if they don't use his script, he will not be acting in this, which means there's like a whole bunch of legal ramifications because of contracts. So then you've got things like that could be delaying it, and if they force him to act, is he going to even give a good performance, which can drag down the movie itself? Do they have to recast? Things like that. So a lot of things are up in the air, and let's face it, who knows? He could just decide, well, you're not having James Gunn involved at all. I'm not gonna do it. And a bunch of his castmates also, they kind of signed an open letter of support for James Gunn. However, there seems to be a little bit of a rift because, Dave Bautista is real gung-ho about, having him be there. And there are some people who are like, well, we like him and stuff like that, but he also said some pretty horrible things. And, Disney has been put in a bad position because of these things. James Gunn, his tweets were of a highly sexual nature, and the subject of that were young boys. I mean, pretty much, I don't know if I even remember seeing one where he even talked about like a young girl. So it gives this perception of a NAMBLA situation. And I mean, one or two jokes over a span, fine, I can understand that, but the sheer number makes people start to wonder, and people are going to hear about this, they're going to look at the tweets, they're going to take them out of context, and they're going to start to think if James Gunn has a proclivity, and an uncomfortable proclivity, and Disney being a family company, Marvel, their brand is really popular with young boys, teenage boys, and that's one of their main demographics. And if there's the perception that they're hiring people or people are working there who may pose a threat, may be a predator of that demographic, it's going to make people wary. And so Disney itself is in a tough situation, especially since there is a past with Disney and people putting in, sexual content within their children's, movies, like, hidden phalluses, hidden sexual references and stuff like that. And there's some that are kind of like conspiracy, and there is some that are proven true, like the Rescuers. There was a topless picture of a topless woman in one of the windows as they were flying by a bunch of buildings. So yeah, there's already a history. Disney, at the time this was all breaking, was in the middle of trying to acquire 20th Century Fox's movies division. And so there's a lot of stuff that was at stake. And we're not talking about Ant-Man here. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of their, which has become one of their premium lines. You've got the Avengers, and then Guardians are kind of like, the second tier Avengers, but they were quite popular and made a lot of money. And now it's a big investment, and it's a risk that Disney didn't want to take. And so what happens is you get this tit for tat. The outrage mob comes and claims another scalp, and now all of a sudden a lot of people who are going to be working on this movie, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air. Now, I'm not saying the movie's not going to happen. The movie's going to happen, but there can be delays. There could be people who have already maneuvered their schedules so that they can work on this movie, and if it doesn't start when it needs to be started, there could be people who are going to be hard pressed. There are going to be people who are relying on the paycheck here, and may end up being in a situation where they can't make rent, they can't pay their utility bills, things like that. There could be all kinds of problems because people wanted to destroy one person. They wanted to destroy one person. They wanted to show up one person, and boom, you all have all this carnage, all this wreckage. And it's wrong. It is wrong, and it is sad, and it is reprehensible. Look, I don't think Roseanne should have been fired. I think ABC probably had some ulterior motives. They probably were not happy with her being so pro-Trump. So they were looking for any excuse they could to fire her without making it look like it was a political thing, as in, because of her Trump support. Especially since earlier ABC was already getting a lot of heat for what they did to Tim Allen and his show. That was also pretty good in the ratings, but a lot of people said that they got rid of his show because of his political beliefs. And honestly, that, firing people based on their political beliefs is illegal. And so, the part of me is thinking like ABC is like, oh, look, we've got a actual legal reason to do what we wanted to do in the first place, and fire her for political reasons, which would be morally wrong. And the thing is, there's a bunch of people who are applauding James Gunn being shipped out, which they also are fans of Marvel movies and probably fans of some of his work. But it's not about justice. It's about the vindictive, vengeful hate mob that the internet has become, and it's about settling scores. It's about destroying people. It's the level of vitriol and discourse has vitriol in this discourse has risen to such a level that people can no longer have a live and let live attitude. I mean, one of the things about like being an adult and going out into the real world is realizing that people are going to have different thoughts than you. People are going to have different beliefs, different rationales, different points of views. And some of them you're going to be disagreeing with, and some of them you're going to vehemently disagree with. But part of being, a mature adult living in this society is understanding that and still being able to function with those people in society. And nowadays we are getting away from that. We are getting away from the live and let live mentality to the, I need to find a way to get an advantage over everyone else. Especially if they are someone that I dislike. I can't work with them. I can't talk to them. I can't be in the same room with them. They need to be destroyed. I need to be in an area, I guess it's the whole safe space mentality, that wherever they are, it should be safe for them and them alone. Who cares about everybody else? It's about me and what I'm comfortable with. And so, it's part of the curse of opulence here in America. We are living in a pretty opulent lifestyle. And so we want to be comfortable, and we want to not have to deal with things we don't want to deal with. And the problem is, it takes a level of maturity to realize that you're going to run into things that are going to make you uncomfortable, and you're going to run into things that you don't want to deal with, but you'll have to deal with. And you have to suck it up, and you have to deal with it. And you have to live with these situations. And so, yeah, we're ending up with a situation that people are just drawing battle lines, and anyone on the other side of an issue is no longer just someone we can disagree with. It's someone that is evil, a monster, and has no rights. They have no rights anymore. They have no right to speak. They have no right to live. They have no right to work. They must be destroyed. They must be taken out. They cannot have a job. They cannot have a family. They cannot have a life. The ultimate goal is them to just disappear from reality. And hopefully we can take their head and put it on a stake and show the world that, look, if you don't agree with us, this is what will happen to you. I mean, it's an internet barbarism and terrorism. And it has gone to just insane lengths. Because yesterday I was talking about this, but then, you know, the audio problems that I had, and so no one was able to hear it. But then I came across a story last night about a race car driver losing a sponsorship because of a racial slur that was uttered 30 years ago. So in one sense, 30 years. Me, 30 years ago, a much different person than I am today. Wholly different person than I was today. And it is ridiculous to hold anyone to account for what seems to be a singular instance of a stupid thing that they said a long, long time ago. But the thing is, that's not the insane part of this story. The insane part of this story was the race car driver who lost the sponsorship didn't actually say the slur. No, it was his father. He is being held accountable for what his father said 30 years ago. And that is batshit crazy. And this is the level that we're getting, where no one can say anything, where we are literally destroying our right to express ourselves. You know, and the thing is, like, if you are part of the mob, you have to start thinking about what's going to happen to you. Because eventually you're going to get to a situation where the mob is going to be against you. And you're going to realize that it's not fair. It's not right. It's not justice. It's not protecting anyone. It's destroying the fabric and foundation of our human rights here in America. We have a First Amendment. It was the most important thing. They put it in there first because it is the foundation of everything. And I don't think that the founders envisioned a world where there would be these online outrage mobs censoring people, policing speech, and punishing speech that they don't like. To them, the government was the big bad guy. The government had all the power. The government held all the pieces, and it was the government that was the tyrannical force that would crush people for speech. And so it was Congress shall make no law. And they were afraid that, you know, Congress would make laws. People influencing Congress would make laws to limit people's ability to not only engage in their in expressing themselves, but also in criticizing the government, criticizing governmental figures, criticizing each other. You know, not every time, like, you know, criticism is not always an insult. It is sometimes done with love and care. because we see there's an issue and we're giving you criticism because we want to try to correct that issue for you. But it's just gone to an insane level. People who want to police speech have figured out that they don't need the government to do that. All they have to do is get enough influence to scare, to terrorize businesses into basically going, okay, yeah, we got to fire this guy because the backlash, oh my goodness, the optics, the publicity. And there are people who are part of the government who are loving this because it's like they're able to get around the Constitution and making it irrelevant. Eventually, they won't have to worry about the First Amendment because we'll have created a society where people are so scared to speak that it might as well not exist anymore. And it's weird because like the government doesn't have to set up the secret police. They don't have to set up the Gestapo. They don't have to have the brown shirt brigade. People are doing it themselves. People are becoming the censors themselves, and they are going out, and instead of the government sending out people to go to someone's house and making them disappear one night, the internet mob is finding them and making them disappear off the internet, and who knows, may eventually end up with people literally getting killed. I mean, the way the things are escalating, it would not surprise me. And it's wrong, and we need to stop it. People of sanity need to realize this stuff is happening, and they need to step up, and they need to figure out a way to stop this. Doesn't mean having the government be involved and being aggressively protecting individual people's rights to free speech. Doesn't mean actually passing laws, because we have laws saying that you can't be fired because of your religion, because of your political beliefs, because of your race. Do we need to have laws now that say you can't be fired because you say stupid shit on the internet? I mean, maybe we do have to do that. Maybe we are getting to a point where we have to start legislating protection for people so that the outrage mob can have its power taken, because the mob needs its power taken away from them. Because they are drunk on it and they are going after anyone. It's the outrage of the week. And I applaud any company that stands up to them. Any company that says, no, we're not listening to you guys. You guys, first of all, you're going to forget it in about a month. You're going to forget it. You're going to find something else to bitch and moan about. And so the stuff's going to blow over. And, I mean, there's still a chance James Gunn can still be involved because in a few months, maybe, no one's going to remember things and they can secretly get them back, have them under a pseudonym. I don't know, something like that. I mean, things kind of like that has happened in Hollywood in the past. Things that aren't super important tend to blow over. And that's how you know they're not super important. The big things that are important don't usually get blown over unless, you've got people literally trying to bury the stuff. So I think we are getting to a point where we really need to seriously think about this stuff. And Carlos says, yeah, whatever. When does the twerking start? Well, first of all, let me double check this here. Stream keywords. I don't see twerking in there, so I don't know where you got the idea that there'd be twerking. Ha ha ha. But let me tell you something, man. You do not want to see me twerk. In fact, I'm not even sure. Like, twerk is just like shake your ass, isn't it? Something like that. You don't want to see me twerk. I will spare the internet the horrors of the twerking. All right? I will spare the internet the horrors of the twerking, because that's just yeah, That's just sad. That's just sad. Like if I thought that I looked good and had a nice ass, whether I was a male or female, maybe I would consider it, because let's face it, if I was good looking and had a good ass and I started shaking in front of the camera, I probably got a lot more subscribers. I'd probably start getting all kinds of donations, and I could probably just quit my job and do this full time. Because we know there are people out there who do look good that probably do that for a living. But I definitely do not have the look, and I definitely don't think I have the ass for it. Especially in these shorts. You know? I mean, like, seriously, look. Let's see. See, look, that is not, that's not, yeah, that's, there's nothing sexy about that. However, if you are a reasonably attractive female over the age of 18 and you think it is sexy, then yeah, okay, you can leave a comment. I'd like to get to know you. Anyways, all joking aside, because we all know that's never going to happen. But yeah, it's just crazy. I had to talk about this because it's getting super ridiculous to think that we're living in a society where you could say something stupid, and we're all humans. We make mistakes. And there are times where we just say something without thinking about it. And to say that, you know, these things, these little slights, you know, are worth having your life destroyed, as well as the collateral damage of friends and family and coworkers having to deal with those problems too, and maybe having their lives damaged, is just ridiculous. It has to stop. We have to regain sanity. Enough of this. You know, it was said a long time ago, the politics of personal destruction. I have a degree in political science. It looks nice back there on my bookcase. Very expensive piece of paper that really hasn't given me anything other than a nice little thing to look at. But the reason why I never got into politics, as in like running for office and things like that, I did run for office once. I ran for city council, and then I ended up being part of the planning commission for that city. But I never ran for larger public office because, I am a very angry person sometimes. When someone insults me, I mean, like, this is why I have some understanding of Trump. When he's on Twitter, whenever someone slights him, he's like back and he's like, you know, just tries to like, you know, bury the knife within them, using Twitter. And I'm kind of like that, you know. I could just imagine a debate where someone would say something and I would just be like, fuck you, you're horrible. That is ridiculous. And I'm pissed off about this situation. This is, you know, I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, I would get angry. I would be talking in public and someone will say something and accuse me of something. And then I'll be like, you know, fuck you. You're horrible. First of all, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You can't talk to your constituents like that. I wish you could. But anyways, but the thing is also they would drag up every single mistake I've ever made in my entire life. Things that I've probably forgotten about. They'd get every whatever person who used to know me try to basically destroy me and myself. And I didn't want to put myself through that. I didn't want to put my family through that. It's not worth it. And that's why people like Trump win. Because they're immune to that. They don't care. You drag all that stuff, they'll first of all just ignore it and then attack you. So yeah, I can't be part of that. But I mean, but in all seriousness, there there's going to become a point where it's going to get violent, and we're going to have a real look in the mirror situation and try to figure out whether or not we're going to be a civilization with rules and justice, or we're going to be just a bunch of angry mobs fighting it out over the internet and then fighting it out over the streets and not have civility. So Carlos asks, do you think Trump is actually in control or just a puppet? Okay, so I don't think Trump is a puppet. I think that's a whole lot of, I would think, wishful thinking on the left side of the aisle. They want him to be a puppet. They want him to be a Russian stooge. They want to believe that Vladimir Putin rigged the election. And the reason is that if that's true, then they can live with themselves and not take responsibility for what they've done. And that is run a horrible campaign, assume they were going to win from day one, used all the dirty tricks that they've always used against their opponents, and for some reason it wasn't working this time. All the character assassination, all the dragging up old dirt and things like that. And they can't accept a reality where they ran a bad campaign. They ran a bad candidate, that most of their candidates are not good candidates, that they run on things that technically aren't super popular, that their platform is about making sure people are down on their luck so that they need help from the government. So you can't run on good economy. You can't run on jobs because you need people to be suffering so that they could want what you're asking them for, what you're selling. What you're selling them is more government, more handouts, and the thing is, when people are fending for themselves and doing all right, you know, they have that pride and personal accomplishment, and they don't want to, you know, A, get handouts, and B, pay for other people's handouts. So yeah, the thing is, if Trump's not a puppet, that means they have to look, the left and the Democrats have to look and go, okay, well, we screwed up. We messed things up. We did it wrong, and now we have to fix it. But if he's a stooge, if he's a puppet, then they don't have to look at themselves in the mirror. They don't have to take responsibility for the things that they did wrong that caused them to lose elections, not only nationally, but also locally. And the thing is, that's fine. If that's what they want to do, keep thinking he's a puppet. Keep, putting yourselves off the hook, and then you'll continue to lose election after election after election, and you'll never learn, and eventually you will have relegated yourselves into nothingness. So that's the thing. I don't think like there's no evidence of real Russian interference that would have affected the election. There is no evidence that Trump had any dealings with Putin or is part of Putin's cabal or anything like that. There isn't any evidence. So now, is he in control? I don't know. I don't know how much he has say in the White House or his staff does. That's always one of those things that you don't know, the inner workings of the administration. I mean, back when George W. Bush was president, there was a lot of talk about, well, is Cheney really running the things? Is it, things like that. So once again, whether or not he's like in complete control, I don't know if he's in complete control over his administration. I think he's had a pretty hands-off approach, because let's face it, if he was managing each part of the administration, the Russia probe would be done. Mueller would be done with his investigation. Sessions would no longer be Attorney General. The point that he hasn't just stepped in and take control of what's going on with the Department of Justice and other things in the government proves to me that he's actually delegating more to those situations, and is taking a somewhat hands-off approach, going, look, we'll let the departments do their jobs, and no, I want them to do certain things, but apparently he's not getting to the point where he's literally dictating terms, because if he was dictating terms, we'd be having different conversations about things. So I think there's a battle going on, and I think in a way it's kind of a good thing, because it keeps things from being impulsive. So you're not just ruling on a whim. If you've got pushback from people and you have to battle it out, you may end up with better policy because of it, because then there's the little give and take that happens, as opposed to just being a dictator and saying this is how it is and everyone fall in line. So in a way, it's one of those things where you wonder if Trump is smarter than he gets credit for, and that he's playing a long game, and that he realizes that he can continue to be underestimated by his opponents and his detractors, and use that as a power to basically sneak in things, to surprise people with actions and policy, so that they have no way of responding to it quickly enough because they weren't expecting it, and then finding a way. And you've seen this several times. You find the opponents having to scramble to respond to these situations that they weren't expecting. I mean, the whole DACA deal. I mean, he literally gave what the Democrats wanted in DACA. He gave it to them on a silver platter. The DACA people were going to get a pathway to citizenship. It wasn't killing. The DREAM Act was not going to be killed. It was going to go on. And all of a sudden, the Democrats weren't expecting that. They weren't expecting that situation. And it was going to be a political win for them, but it was going to be a political win for Trump too. And they couldn't have that happen. So what they had to do is they couldn't support it. And so what happens, they found themselves actually going against their promises, going against what they were trying to accomplish. And perhaps in the end, that was Trump's goal, was to go, how can I kill DACA and make it the Democrats' fault? By saying, you can have DACA. And then the Democrats go, wait, but we can't have DACA. We can't have you have anything that's good. Shoot. Okay, we have to kill it. Checkmate. I don't know. I mean, it could just be stupid luck. I mean, I'm all, it could all be stupid luck. Thanks for the compliment. Thinking I'm super knowledgeable about these things. I mean, I pay attention, and I read a lot of stories and pay attention. Like literally, Twitter for me isn't about talking; it's about listening. And I just follow a whole lot of people. I follow people that I agree with, and I follow people that I don't agree with. I mean, I follow CNN, and I think CNN is horrible. But I follow them because I want to know what they're talking about, what their perspective is, because then I can, dissect it, understand where they're coming from, and also tear them apart when they're wrong. And a lot of times, and you can literally see, you can see their biases at work. And that's the big thing, is you see their biases at work. You see how they are, how they respond to things, how they view things, and you get a good perspective for what they're saying, what they're doing, which is funny because the big thing now, because of the whole Michael Cohen thing, the whole thing that they're talking about now is this crime. And so let's talk about this crime. So the crime is you pay someone, all right? You pay someone money to do something. And that something is supposed to influence the election. All right? So you pay money to somebody to do something to influence the election. That's the crime. That's the crime that they're talking about. That's what they want to say is the crime. All right? We're not talking about specifics. We're talking about in a general thing. Michael Cohen paid money to these women so that they don't talk, and their not talking will influence the election. All right? So so we break away the specifics and just look at the elements. Somebody paid someone to do something to influence the election. That's the crime. If that's the reality we're living in, then guess what? All our politicians should go to jail right away, because that's exactly what they do every time they run for office. They pay their political consultants. They pay their campaign managers. They pay them to do something, run their campaign, give them ideas and strategies on running the campaign. And that purpose is to influence the election, to influence people to vote for you. You pay people money to make a political ad. That political ad is meant to influence people to vote for you, influencing the election. How is that even a crime in this day and age is beyond me. That is standard operating procedure for everyone. And now you're going to say that's a crime. I mean, look at the world that you're trying to create. It's insane. Paying someone to do something to influence an election in and of itself is not a crime. Now, if you're paying someone to do something illegal to influence an election, like hack machines, like pay people to vote, things like that, things like that happen in elections, paying people to stand in front of a polling place with bats, intimidating people to not vote there. That should be that. I think that's illegal, but that's the situation. So we've got a whole lot of just insanity going on. Anyways, I'm gonna get off that big topic. I spoke enough about it, but you know where I'm coming from. I am a gigantic freedom of speech person. After all, I love horror movies and I love video games, and there is a history of censorship and political bullshit, and that goes hand in hand with horror movies and video games. And I don't like it. I want people to be allowed to express themselves so that I know where they're coming from. I know what they think, and I know whether they're good or bad people, because they're not being, hiding themselves. And people need to learn how to stand on their beliefs and their convictions. and not be afraid of losing their life for just what for the most part is just words. We're not talking about situations where people are calling for people to die or calling for violence. It's not like James Gunn was found in the back seat of a Suburban with like 3 14-year-old boys. It wasn't like Roseanne was wearing a KKK outfit at a Klan meeting, yelling about, you know, all these non-white people. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like any of that for any of those situations. I'm still like appalled by the whole fact that guy lost his sponsorship because his father said something 30 years ago. That's just stupid. That's just like that food critic who lost his job at his paper because many years back he was part of a punk band and the punk band had weird lyrics. I mean, he might not even been responsible for the lyrics. Plus, you were in a punk band, so you're already doing crazy stuff. Anyways, I don't know. So let's move on, and we're going to move on to a little bit of that's fucked up. Yep, that's right. I found something that is fucked up, and now we're going to talk about it. Isn't that great? And so the whole thing, if you look at the description, there's a new phrase. There's a new phrase catching fire on the internet. And what it is that there is this movement to get medical professionals to stop using a certain medical term. All right? The term is vagina. They want to have medical personnel, medical professionals, stop using the term vagina because apparently that is offensive, or it makes people without vaginas who want to have vaginas to feel bad. It makes people feel sad. It reminds them about their lack of vaginity. I don't know. Anyways, so instead of saying vagina, the medical term that we've been using for decades, hundreds of years, maybe even 1,000 to 1,000 years, instead of saying vagina, it is now should be referred to as, and let's get this awesomely scientific and medical sounding phrase out in the public. It needs to be referred to as the front hole. That's right, the front hole. Because, my God, nobody's ever referred to the sphincter as the back hole. Hey, baby, have you ever wanted to, do it in the back hole? I mean, maybe that might have happened before, but still, that's just, and honestly, I always thought the front hole was your mouth, because it's in the front, but whatever. This is another form of insanity that we're dealing with, because that is just insane. We are now trying to change medical terms that apply to 99 point whatever percentage of people, or well, females. 99%. We're now having to change it to something that sounds really kind of derogatory in a way. Oh, shut your front hole. Oh man, do you got sand in your front hole? I mean, the whole, all this stuff is just, stop being a front hole. Dude, the greatest thing about being famous is that you can go up to these beautiful women and grab them by the front hole, and they let you. I mean, like, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's like, look, it is a vagina. All right? That is the word that we've used for it here in medical things for hundreds of years, just because a small, minute percentage of people may feel bad because they don't have one, I'm losing my mind here. It's just insanity. We've lost our minds. Front hole. I mean, it's ugh. It's so dumb. It's so ridiculous. It's so, and of course they're gonna say, "Oh man, the fact that you're complaining about this means you're super evil, transphobe, whatever." No, I'm just like, why do we have to? Like, there comes a point where, look, I don't care where you go to the bathroom. I mean, as long as you go into a bathroom. I mean, if you're doing it in, like, the street, yeah, I care then. Okay, you're doing it in my lawn, I care. You do it in my front yard, yep, I'm caring. You do it in my living room, yes, I care where you're going to the bathroom at that point. But, you know, whatever, the men's room, the women's room, we have a multi-sex room, I don't care. I don't care about that. Whatever, wherever, you know, go wherever. Just, you know, people are going to look. People are going to look. If you're, you know, a woman, well, if you look like a woman with, you know, big knockers, and you go into the men's room, men are going to look and go, okay, that is unusual. And even if it happens, you know, on a semi-regular basis, it's still unusual because the vast majority of people coming into that bathroom don't have those tits. And especially if you go to the stand-up stall and you still have a front hole. Are we just gonna call the penis the front or the well, we can't say it's the 11th finger because that's not sensitive to people who have missing fingers. We can't call it a third leg because, I mean, we just have to call it the front tube. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But there comes a point where it's like, look, that is ridiculous. That is enough. There's, you know, there are real problems in this world. And then there are these bullshit problems. This is a bullshit problem. All right. This should not be an issue. And if it is an issue, then please seek some help. You need some help. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this in any sort of insulting way. But if you are going to crumble because someone used the word vagina, there is something super wrong. And I am serious. This is not a joke. You need to work out this problem. This is constructive criticism. There are real issues. There are real issues. There are issues of people getting fired. There are real issues of people getting attacked, assaulted, beaten. Those are real issues. This does not contribute to those other issues. In fact, the fact that you're trying to force this through is probably contributing to those other issues. Because there's going to be this resistance and there's going to be this pushback. And there are going to be assholes and jackasses and evil people who will use these as inspiration and an excuse to do vile things that they probably wanted to do to begin with, but are now going to use this as fuel for their fire. It's ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. We have to regain sanity. There are some things that are just too far beyond the pale. And we need to rein it back in and realize that, look, yes, we need to protect from the tyranny of the majority, but we still have to protect the rights of the majority too. And we're getting into a situation where the majority are not gonna have rights, which is a crazy thing. Your comfort trumps our comfort. Your feelings trump everyone else's feelings. You don't have to live with it. We have to live with it, which is ridiculous. No, we all have to live with each other, and we have to do the best job we can. But there are going to have to be standards, and yes, there are going to be normal things, and there are going to be not normal things. And just because it's not normal doesn't mean it's bad. Look, being a billionaire is not normal, but it is not a bad thing. Just like dressing up as a woman, if you're a man, is not normal. Does it have to be a bad thing? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. But there are going to be people who think billionaires are bad, and being a billionaire is bad. And there are going to be people who think that dressing up as a woman, if you're a man, is a bad thing. As long as they're not actively trying to destroy them, they can have that opinion, and you can still do what you want to do. And we can all live and let live. To bring things back around to the first thing. Anyways, it's just, I thought I just had to share this, because there are people in this world who don't realize that this type of insanity is going on, and these movements to which honestly I don't even know. I think for the most part, I think a lot of these things are brought upon by people who like aren't even trans. Probably this probably was started by someone who was not even trans. Probably started by some leftist, bleeding heart, guilt-riddled liberal who goes, you know what? I'm going to make myself feel better by being a champion and advocate, by forcing them to use this term front hole. And they think they're doing good. And that's the crazy part, is they think they're doing great. They think they're doing a good job, and that they're helping when they're not. They're making their cause ridiculous. They're turning people off of their cause, and they probably were not asked for their help anyways. It's just crazy. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be legitimately started by trans people, but I have this aching suspicion that it's probably more, white liberal female. Might be lesbian, but lesbian's different than trans. But anyways, Andrea Gotti. Ciao. How are you doing there, Andrea? Anyways, so let's move on. Let's move on from the front hole, which is just ridiculous. And let's talk about Battlefield 5 and the Italia. Yeah. I do not know much Italian, but I do know some things. I think grazie. I think I know that, which is thank you, I believe. And yeah, that's probably about it. I think ciao, CIO. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Do you like Italian food? I do like Italian food. However, it's probably not authentic Italian food. It's Americanized Italian food. However, I've eaten Italian food in Japan, and I'm sure that was probably Japanized. I don't know what's the proper term for that. Italian food also. But no, I do like Italian food. I'm a big fan of the many different noodles especially penne and rigatone. Some of the sauces, of course. I love marinara sauce. Marinara sauce is my ketchup. I don't like ketchup, but I love marinara sauce. I put marinara sauce on a lot of things. I put it on burgers. It's just great. I also like marsala, and I don't know. Have I ever had a carbonara? I don't know, but I mean, I like the Italian food that we have here in America. Whether how authentic it is, I guess is yet to be seen. But I do like it. I do enjoy that. There was like kind of like this sort of this Arab roasted chicken that I had this one time. Was very good, very flavorful. Some of the cheeses I really like Asiago, mozzarella, Parmesan. Oh, pizza with figs. Okay. You know what? I've never had actual figs before. And I have eaten a lot of pizzas that have had a lot of, at least in the American perspective, a lot of interestingly weird ingredients, including baby corn and curry, and among other things. So, I mean, I've never had figs before, literally. I've had fig Newtons, which is probably not a good representation of it, but I've never had figs, so I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I like, I don't know how, if figs are really sweet, but I've had, Hawaiian style pizza is nice. And that, that has that sort of, sweet and salty, dichotomy, because the pineapple has quite a biting, sweetness to it. Pasta with... Pasta with the pesto. See, I don't know if I'm gonna be big on pesto sauces or things like that. I mean, I'd try it. That's the thing is I would try this stuff. But yeah, like I said, the stuff here in America is probably pretty Americanized and pedestrian. But I like it. When I go to an Italian restaurant, I am not having any problems finding stuff that I like to eat. So, it's when it comes to Americanized cuisines, international, it's probably my favorite of the international cuisines. Chinese is my second favorite. So, yeah. Even though I know, authentic Italians would be just yeah, it's not authentic Italian food. That isn't even Italian. Chicken Parmesan, that's not Italian. However, that is my favorite American Italian dish. Is chicken Parmesan. That's what I love. I love it. I like it. Fried chicken cutlets on a bed of noodles with marinara and melted cheese over it. If I go to Italy, I mustn't say pizza with pineapple. It's well, it's not something that I normally would just get myself. If I go to a pizza buffet, where there is a very decent one that I go to regularly. It's a couple blocks from my house, and I will eat their Hawaiian style pizza, and it's good. But it's not something I would buy like a whole pizza of. I would not buy a whole pie. So they really get pissed. I can understand that. They're probably pissed off that we as Americans have co-opted pizza and literally has just made it our own. Like we basically just annexed pizza from the Italians. We annexed it and now we own it. We own pizza. I'm sorry, but we do. We own it. We conquered it. We took it from you. Okay. It's a different kind of pizza when we have it. Yeah. Yeah, and I know that, like, you've got, like, some more, like, traditional Italian-esque or Italian pizzas, like, the margherita pizza, things like that. And we have our American things like the Detroit style pizza and Chicago style pizza. But yeah, it's like we conquered it and made it our own, and now when we think pizza, it's part of like Americana. See, that's the thing about mac and cheese, is that I am not a fan of mac and cheese. I used to eat it a lot when I was a kid, but now it's just like I don't like. For me, like, certain cheeses I can deal with in certain situations, but just to have like a cheesy, creamy sauce like that now just doesn't work for me anymore. But according to a lot of people, there is a lot of good mac and cheese in America, and there's a lot of restaurants that serve it. So I hope your dream comes true. I hope you're able to come to America and try some mac and cheese. You're always welcome to America. As much as people want to like portray us as like some closed off, immigrant hating country, we are not. We love immigrants. We love people. We just want you to do it legally. We want you to respect our laws. So what's my favorite food? My favorite food is steak. A nicely grilled cut of beef, a ribeye or a New York strip. I guess a filet mignon, but I'm not rich enough to really have that stuff. So, but like, to me, just like a juicy steak, just awesome. I just eat that every day. Yours is sushi? Okay. All right. Honestly, like, for someone who is big on some Japanese things, I'm not really big on sushi. There are some things that I will eat, but there are some things that I'm just not big on. And for me, sushi is just like, nah, it's okay. I mean, I can understand why, some people like it and find it delicious. It's just, for me, for one thing, I really like hot food. There's something about me that when something's cold, and it's not like ice cream or something, like, for instance, like gazpacho and stuff like that. Just there's something about like having a savory dish, and when it hits your mouth, it's cold. Just really messes with me. That's why I like when I have sandwiches, I need them to be toasted. I don't like cold sandwiches. You know, when I get a sub, it's got to be hot and toasted. There's just something. I'm weird. I'm weird like that. It's not normal. So, and so the same type of thing with sushi is, you know, it's for the most part it's cool or cold, and just something about that. I expect like a hot meal. I don't know. It's weird. Oh, we've got plenty of places in America that have sushi, and honestly, maybe not all you can eat, but they definitely have places where you can get it on the cheap. I mean, you can go to grocery stores in America, and they will actually have a sushi counter where they make fresh sushi for you. that's you know that's how and that's like not even California, New York. That's like in the middle of the country. You've got places. So I mean, it's definitely not out of the ordinary. It's just odd. Not odd. I just, you know. But no, I mean, my brother and his wife, they really like sushi. I myself, I mean, I'll eat some things, but it's not something that I'm gonna go out of my way and go, I need to order some sushi. If there's other Japanese things that I would get, it would be like tempura, yakitori, sukiyaki, things like that. I would have ramen, like real actual Japanese ramen, not that instant shit. That stuff, udon noodles, things like that. I love that stuff. I eat it up. Some not cold soba noodles though. Oh, freaking cold soba. See, once again, it's that cold thing. I think that's half the thing is temperature. Anyways. So, yeah. That's the thing. So what was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about Battlefield 5. That's right. Battlefield 5. The Call of Duty's. I mean, I think Battlefield's been around longer than Call of Duty, but it's Call of Duty's little brother, basically, even though it might actually be older. But there's been a lot of things going on with Battlefield 5 after that trailer for it. First of all, the fact that they're calling it Battlefield 5, coming off of Battlefield 1, which is technically Battlefield 5, right? Because you had Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, then Battlefield 1, and now Battlefield 5. I mean, like, so there's that already going against it. And then you have the super over-the-top Call of Duty-esque trailer. Because the thing that, like, Battlefield wanted to hang its hat on, that people who like Battlefield hang their hat on, is that it's much more serious and less over-the-top and more realistic, even though you have people who can jump out of a jet fighter, land on another jet fighter, beat the person out of it, put on like a bomb, and then jump back into their old jet fighter. You know, that's completely unrealistic, but whatever. You know, that was their thing, was that they were more like accurate, like the weapons. Do I like Fortnite? I've never played Fortnite. I've thought about playing it, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I want to learn a new game. And it would be different if it was just, you know, you going there and fighting with guns, but you have this thing about like gathering resources and crafting and building things. And I don't know if I want to put in the time to like learn the intricacies of that. When I'm playing games, I kind of almost want to just get into it and start doing things. And I guess you could really do that in Fortnite, I guess. But it seems like if you want to do good in it, you want to learn all that other stuff. So I don't know if I like it or not. I don't really have any real desire to play it or try it. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it looks fine and it looks fun. A lot of people have fun with it. It's just, I don't know. Never played it. And I'm not sure if I ever will. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in the future? So I can't tell you whether I like it or not. But Battlefield 5. So, and that's one of the things that, you know, I never really got into Battlefield. I played like Battlefield 3 for a while. I think I've played the original Battlefield on PC, playing LAN parties and trying to control like helicopters and things. Maybe it was Battlefield 2. I don't know. Anyways, trying to control like the vehicles, the planes and whatever. I realized you need like rotor controls or stuff like that. Anyways, it was always hilariously disastrous. I'd get into an aerial vehicle and I'd like get some air and then just end up, how I kill someone is just by crashing on top of them. So anyways, I mean, it was fun. It was ridiculous, but like to me, it was always slower. And it was harder to be just like the lone wolf. So much easier in Call of Duty to be just a solo player. And because my schedule is so weird, it's hard to like, you know, play with other people that I know. And plus, you know, a lot of my friends have moved on to different games. So anyways, but so Battlefield 5 kind of tried to separate itself out. And then, or Battlefield itself tried to separate itself from COD, Call of Duty. And being like a real alternative, a more strategic gameplay, more accurate weapons and the feel for the weapons and the firing for the weapons and things like that. So authenticity, kind of their thing. And then you get the trailer and you have like one-armed pirate cyborg women fighting in World War II, you know, quick scoping, and it was just like the pinnacle of ridiculousness. I mean, and let me get this straight. If it was a guy who was a cyborg pirate dude, I'd still be having a problem with that. But the fact that, you know, you're starting to pigeonhole, like, you know, or not trying to pigeonhole, you're trying to get women into the front lines, where it was a very, very rare thing in World War II and in World War I. And just because you're doing it for the sake of having a woman there, for representation, for diversity. And I think that's the thing, is like, you know, it doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel accurate and it feels like a Call of Duty type of thing. And so there's a backlash, and that trailer has gotten a lot of dislikes. So what happens next is that one of the guys, I don't know if he was the PR guy or whatever, but he basically says, you know, like, look, we have a vision, and this is part of the vision, and, you know, we're going to have this, and if you don't like the fact that there are women in it, guess what? Don't play it. Don't buy it. Don't buy our game. Which, let's face it. First of all, look, that's your vision. I respect that. You can do that. It's your game. You want to put that stuff in there. If people have a problem with it, they can have a problem with it. And I understand that mentality. But you don't go out and say, don't buy my product. Especially when your goal is to get people to buy your product. I mean, you just don't do that. You just don't say, don't buy my game. I mean, especially when you're part of a big company whose goal is to make money by selling games and selling DLC and all that other good stuff. That's the goal. And you really just put your foot in your mouth by doing something like that. You just don't do that. You bullshit people. You say, look, I understand your concerns. We understand, but this is the vision of that the game is going with. You don't have to, you know, play as a female character in the multiplayer or whatever and things like that. Yes, we like accuracy, but we're also telling an entertainment story, and so we're we're going to Soap McTavish. Hello, soldier. Well, hello, Soap. Oh, gee. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's ways that you could address it and go, look, it's part of the game. We're not thinking about changing it. This is the direction we're going. This is part of the entertainment portion, and we're dramatizing this. We're not being 100% accurate, but instead you're like, you know, you're basically saying, fuck you, don't buy our stuff. If you don't like it, don't buy this shit, which is not the way you do it. That's not the way you go about this business wise. Do you know me by name? Soap. I have heard of you. And I have played as you. But as you as a actual person on the internet, I have no idea who you are. In all seriousness, but no. Also, Captain Price called earlier and wants you to clean the latrines. So get on that, because we don't want Captain Price to be upset with us. No, anyways. Anyways. So Battlefield 5. So and now there's this worried because after this, pre-orders for Battlefield 5 are just in the tank. They are doing pathetic, and there's this real fear now from the publisher that it's not going to sell well. And let me tell you what, it's going to sell all right for a Battlefield game. It's not going to approach those Call of Duty numbers. Battlefield probably will never get there. But you definitely didn't do yourselves any favors with the situation, and it's going to be bad. He is older than me, much older. He have to sleep more, and he's almost dying. But he is good. That is right. That is right. Do you know my good friend Ramirez? He's very busy. A lot of people are telling him to do a lot of things. Hey Ramirez, go check out that door. Ramirez, follow up the. Anyways, so yeah, Battlefield 5. Hey, you know what? It'll be. You can bring Ghost here? That would be nice. Do you have a shovel? You have a shovel to dig up Ghost? Because I think Ghost is dead, isn't he? Anyways, oh man. But yeah, so Battlefield 5. Gee. Oh, talk about stepping in it. No, he didn't die. He is here with me. Alright, that's nice. That's nice. Alright, so moving on from Battlefield 5, we are going on to our last topic. I didn't die, but that's what Infinity Ward want people to think. Well, you know, yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen next year? Who knows? There could be a Modern Warfare 4, and everyone will be back. Just as long as, you know, just as long as Makarov doesn't snap his finger and half of you guys disappear. Of course, he's dead, so it doesn't matter. Or is he? You can tell me what happens. Tell me, this is an exclusive. Of course, the stream will get shut down because of the leaks, the leaked information. But we have an exclusive here, everyone on the internet. Soap McTavish is going to tell us what happens in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. The Revenge. But seriously, moving on to the last topic, because it's almost been... How long has this been? Oh my god. How long have I been streaming? For an hour and 32 minutes. Okay, so moving on to not in Modern Warfare 4, in Modern Warfare 3. Okay, I get it. Yeah. No, that's all right. I get it. So Suspiria Remake, a movie that I've been interested in since they have been talking about remaking it several years ago. It's been several years. This idea of remaking Suspiria has been around for quite a long time. In fact, it's probably been like six or 7 years, maybe even longer. But, you know, the movie has been made, I believe, because we had the teaser trailer, which I thought was awesome. It had a great tone, and I thought was very faithful to the tone of the original movie. And then we got this proper trailer, and it looks very intriguing. It looks very, very, very cool. So me and Yuri are on the top. If that chapel or church, we have to kill Makarov, but we are compromised, so we... Yuri. Chauffeur to the military special forces. So if you haven't seen the trailer, though, I suggest you watch it. It's looking good, though I do have some concerns about how far they're going to depart from the original movie thematically. I mean, the chapel church explodes, we fall down, but we survive. Okay, all right. Because, like, what makes the original so great, and it's what I put it number 3 on my top 10 horror movies of all time. Suspiria. It is an excellent, spectacular film. I suggest everyone watch it. Dario Argento's masterpiece. But the thing that makes this movie work is that it's an adult fairy tale. It has this sense of magic. I mean, you know, it's dealing with witches and things like that, but it has this sort of magical, ethereal feel to it. A sort of surreal, almost dreamlike quality in the movie. Price and Yuri carry me to the building where they put me on the table. Okay. All right. And the thing is, the first preview kind of captures a bit of that tone and that magicalness. The thing is, the second one just, I don't know. I mean, it's intriguing, and I know that there's differences, but I don't know. Like, I'm afraid that they're, I don't know. I mean, I like the fact that they talked about the 3 mothers, so they're going to keep that part of the mythology, the mythos in there. But there's just something a little off about it. I mean, I'm still excited, and I'm still going to watch this movie. But now I have a little bit of a concern that, and some fear that they may go in a direction that I might not want or agree with. Anyways. So I say the last words. Price, you need to know. Makarov knows. Yuri. Then I don't die. I pass out. Oh, man. Classic. So, I don't know if any of you seen Suspiria, or any of you are interested or thinking about watching the remake. I am curious to hear what you have to say about it. So I'm sure no one's going to say anything in the comments here, but in the comments of the video that's going to be on YouTube, just in case you get this far, I'm just curious how you feel about it. Because, yeah, it's strange, because the more I think about it, the more I study it, the more something just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't know if I'm just overthinking it, but I'm still very excited for it. And I hope that we have that tone and feel. And it's not, maybe it's because I think the trailer is more straightforward. And even though there is a little mysteriousness in it, it doesn't have that sort of ethereal, dreamlike quality. So after that, you pass out from losing too much blood. And after that, Yuri dies, getting shot on his head, and Price kills Makarov forever by hanging him. He is killed. Not just regularly killed, but killed forever. He killed him until he died from it. Very interesting. Very interesting story there, Soap. Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you for sharing. So, that is the last subject. I wanted to just talk about Suspiria. I'm still hoping for the best with that. It still looks good. I just hope maybe that trailer just doesn't, just for some reason, just didn't have like the magical feel, but that you're still going to have that in the movie. So, anyways. After that, Price comes back in Czech Republic, goes to the building I was in, and helped me wake up. Very nice, very nice. So you were there all that time, passed out from too much blood loss, but you were able to manage to live, even though the massive blood loss. Did they like hook you up to like some sort of transfusion or something? I don't know. How much time passed since you passed out and Price goes and kills Makarov? They put you in like some sort of suspended state. I don't know. Anyways, I think I'm getting done with the stream. I've talked quite a bit. It's been a while. It was great having the ability to talk to y'all, have a nice conversation, get a great story from Soap. I wake up, he bandages me, then takes me to one of the hospitals. Does he carry you out? Does he carry you across the threshold, looks deep into your eyes, and says, I was trying to get like one of those Price accent, but I can't do it. Especially now my voice is all sorts of screwed up. I did it all for you, Soap. I did it all for you. Anyways. Oh man. But yeah, I'm happy to have talked to so many different people. Soap, of course. Andrea Gotti. Talk about food. Always like talking about food. It's great. I already had like a big lunch, so it wasn't getting me all crazy. And of course, Carlos, wondering when the twerking starts. The twerking never starts. Or the twerking never stops. It's been going on all this time. You just can't see it. Ouch. Oh, that's so ridiculous. Anyways. And yes, after going on another mission, they put me in something, what you said. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. But I am going to leave it at that. I'd like to thank everyone who stopped by, watch the stream. You guys are all awesome. Guys and gals, whoever you are, you're great. Love talking to you. And anyone in the YouTube land who watches this afterwards, you know, join the conversation. Leave a comment in the comment section. My goodness, August is almost over. I think we have like a week left. And then it's September. And then after September is October. We all know what that means. Oh my God. So, but I am going to call it an evening. May you all have a wonderful day, afternoon, night. Everyone on internet land, you guys stay awesome, stay sexy, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye. Soap McTavish is back on the battlefield where he belongs. As long as it's the Call of Duty battlefield and not the battlefield. EV 1488. Okay, before I end everything, I do have to know. 1488. Like room 1488? Year 1488? Okay. All right. See, I failed your little test there. I am not a I am not a white supremacist. That is sad though, that is like the first thing that comes up when I search 1488. I'm going to say this. All lives matter. Even Japanese lives. Ghost can tell you how he survived because I don't know that good. That's all right. I mean, look. Yeah. Okay, V. I understand that you know, I just look it up on the internet and there can be some bias involved and that it could mean something else. But it's definitely Japanese European coalition worldwide. And I understand that. But it also can be used by people of ill repute for something else. I thank you. Thank you for liking my videos. I'm happy people like it. Everyone's lives matter except Makarov's one. Glad he's dead. Look, yeah. Well, the thing is, his life mattered so much that it had to end. See, his life mattered too much and was doing bad things, so it had to end. But no, I mean, like, look, I want to tread lightly on certain things, like things, because what I talked about earlier in this stream about the Outrage Mob and stuff like that, and so especially that I'm out in public and things that I say here can be used against me. I'm going to tread lightly on certain subjects, rightly or wrongly. Turn on the TV, watch a movie, and clearly there's an anti-white message in everything. I'm going to disagree. Not everything, but I see where you're coming from, because there's definitely a lot of anti-male and we would say European type of things out there. But I've got a gigantic collection of movies here. And let me tell you, like, I can just point at a random one here. Dolls. The movie Dolls. Okay, Jim the Thug. That is just a nightmarish thing that you just that you just unleashed upon us. My balls grows eyes and a mouth. I would die. I would ask for the cyanide capsules. That is just horrible. A lot of my so you're talking about films nowadays. So I just watched The Meg, not too long ago. The movie The Meg. It's about it's about a deep sea research center that were exploring the Philippine Trench, and one of the subs that went down in there got attacked by something, and ended up being trapped down there. And so they hired this deep sea rescue guy to go and rescue them. In doing so, they let out this gigantic shark called the Megalodon. You could bring ghosts on the live, but if you're ending it, yeah, I mean, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Demography is destiny. White people are a minority worldwide. Well, yeah, I'm not disputing that. And soon to be a minority in the U.S. I mean, yeah, it's heading that way. What do you think is going to happen in the future? What I'm thinking is going to happen in the future is I am going to think that rationality and sanity are the default of humanity here in our evolution, and that we are going to either destroy ourselves or wake up and realize that we can't just be going down this horrible path that we're going down. And well, I mean, look, but one of the things. So, well, let's look at one of these things. First of all, like when you talk about white people, we are not at all a homogenous group. We are not monolithic. When you talk about like white people, we have many different nationalities and many different, I guess you would say, like races within the white. I mean, for instance, you know, we have the Irish, the English, the Scottish. We have the French. We have the Spanish. We have the Bavarians. We have the Italians. We have the Slavic peoples. We have the Baltic peoples. We have the Polish, the Russian. There, I mean, even though it's European, even though it's European, it's still, there are varying traditions, varying customs, varying philosophies, as well as, you know, varying languages and traditions. And it's honestly, you know, outside of, you know, what you would, outside of like the this context, like all white people get along with each other, feel brotherhood, feel camaraderie. It's not really even like that. There's like, for instance, we definitely separate the actions of individuals from their race, especially when it comes to whiteness, because it's such a varied background for, and we've hated each other. White people have hated other white people for a long time. Look at what happened with the Irish. The Irish were under the boot of the English, the British. They were second class citizens. The Irish were spat upon and disregarded and discriminated against in America. It's look. So is Lawrence Fishburne white? I don't know. I don't know what his demographics are, and I don't know what you like. So like you're responding rather quickly, and I'm not having a chance to read everything and respond at the same time. I guess like what's your percentage? What is your threshold for whiteness? Is it like the Southern Democrat one drop policy, where if there's a drop of non-white blood, you are not white? Or is it Sergeant or Ghost Riley? Ay. No, and Jim, it's not about like winning. See, this is one of the things that bug me about discourse is it's not about winning. It's not about winning or losing an argument. It's about having a conversation and understanding. It's about getting your point across and having other people's points. See, and that's the thing. It's like, some people, would be super uncomfortable with this conversation, and they might, have them modded. Because look, I understand. I understand where people, are coming from with this situation. Look, for a long time, American school systems, the political discourse in this country has vilified America and white Americans. And there's all this talk of saying like, that just being white is the cause of all kinds of problems throughout the world, as if there's like this sort of, monolithic, world conquering whiteness thing going on there, which it isn't. It just happens that white people in Europe discovered technologies, learned to exploit the weaknesses of their enemies, and create weapons and create systems that greatly benefited them and gave them huge advantages, not advantages born upon particular racial traits, not advantages born upon years of societal oppression, but advantages born upon thought and experimentation and problem solving. And, like for a long time, Asia, back in antiquity, Asia and the Middle East had a technological advantage over the Europeans, and they came in and they conquered and they subjugated. But one reason or another, and it wasn't because of some, vast white conspiracy, there was some problems, like the problem, what happened when Islam took over the Middle East and scientific, you talk about the Dark Ages in Europe, the Dark Ages in the Middle East basically stopped all their technological progress. Anyways, the thing is, Europe caught up and then drove way up ahead. But anyways, look, I want to, like, so I might be pessimistic, and I'm reading some of these things. I'm trying to get there. Loosing. Okay. All right. I get it. I'm sorry, Jim. Well, I think some of it's also cultural. So, when you're saying, like, Chinese people don't have empathy. I mean, I think all human beings have empathy and have, the ability to do that stuff. But there's also cultural differences. And there are things that, especially being in a communist dominated society where they had basically a mass murdering of undesirable people, intellectuals for the most part. You create a society that, especially when the government treats people as expendable cogs, that the people within those societies, start to view themselves and others around them as expendable cogs. When you're being taught that you're expendable cogs, for decades upon decades, you start to believe that you're all just expendable cogs, and that So, I mean, it's not about, like, no. And I'm not disputing things like, you say white people make beautiful societies. Yes, Western society is great. Western society has allowed us to get to this point where I can live in this house, talk on the internet, things like that. Yeah. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that at all. But they also had, pre-modern Western society had some pretty stupid and shitty societies. But anyways, what would you do if banging it? Oh, come on. Jim. If I think the vast majority of people, Jim, would bang the 12-year-old to save the world. I bet you that. I bet you like it would be, if there were no like social, if that was a survey and there was like no one was like, it was completely anonymous. I bet you it'd be like 99% would say they'd bang that person. Anyways, I bet you it would be, because I mean, look, you're talking about the world. I mean, I guess there's a bunch of people who think that the world's not deserving of being saved. So, whatever. Anyways. No, I'm not. I'm like, look, I am not guilty of anything that I have not done. All right. I have no guilt for ancestral whatevers. I have no guilt for, I can only be guilty for the things that I have done, that are worthy of guilt. And I've done things. Yes, I've done things that I regret. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, we are, I mean, like, the thing about like proud is like I am proud of the good things that are in me. And yes, like I am of European descent, and there's one part of my descent, one part of my family that I'm really, you know, I have, you know, kind of a somewhat nationalistic pride when they're, and then, you know, because they're relatively small and inconsequential, but when they're in the Olympics, and they're not playing against the U.S., I root for them, and I feel a sense of pride when they do well. Yes, and I want the country to do well. When they were freed from Soviet tyranny, that was a good thing, and I'm happy for them. And I'm an American first, and my allegiance is to the United States. And yeah, if for some reason we ended up on opposite sides of the battlefield, well, they're gonna have to, you know, they're gonna have to take the L, because we're gonna win. But okay, well, yeah, you gotta go, and I have to go. What I'm saying is that the issue is, part of it is you can be construed, and you can be taken out of context, and people can read into things the wrong things. And then you're in this situation where you're constantly battling perception as opposed to reality. And I hate that. And also I have like responsibilities, and I have to take care of those responsibilities, which harkens to the things that I was talking about in the beginning. I hope, Evie, that if you haven't seen what I was talking about in the first part about the Outrage Mob on the internet, I hope you after this is done and you have some time to go back and check out my thoughts on that. But I'm not, because I'm very, very wary of conspiracy, because it is a very, very difficult thing to get a lot of actors to not only do something, but to keep it a secret in such large areas. And that the sheer ridiculousness, I want to believe, because this is a world that I want to live in, is that the majority of people just want to live in peace, live their lives, and not be fucked with. And that they're the people who want to destroy white people, just like the people who want to destroy black people, just like people who want to destroy, well, okay, maybe there's a lot more people who want to destroy Jews. Okay. Okay. There's a lot more of that. Okay. But I'm saying that the people who want to destroy white people are such a minority. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want. If evidence continues to mount that that's not the way it is, then I have to reevaluate my thoughts. But I think the majority of people on this earth don't care about a lot of this shit. Try to stay away from it. That's why, you know, sometimes, yeah, it's good to talk about things, to try to get people to know things. But I think overall, I think they just want to live their lives. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to hate anyone. I don't want to dislike anyone. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff there. But I mean, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to get shit because I didn't like totally disavow you and you know, call you every name in the book. I'm not about that. We're just having a conversation. And it's good to have conversations. And, you know, there are things that, you know, we can agree on, and there's things that we can disagree on. There's things that we have different perspectives on, and that's fine. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty. No one is getting injured. No one is getting assaulted. We are having an exchange of thoughts and opinions. And we think and we grow. Now, shutting people down, muting them, modding them, things like that, that's not how we grow. That's not how we grow in our thoughts, in our rationality. Oops, I'm just banging this. But yes, it's been a long time, and I do have to go. So, but I thank you thank you, Jim, for showing up and giving me a nightmare about bulls having teeth and mouth. Oh my God, that's just... What the hell would I have to feed it? I guess if you were Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall, blondes. Anyways, you have to feed it blondes. Anyway, so, but thank you to Jim the Thug. Thanks, Evie, for the conversation. There was a lot of it. You were typing like a speed demon. I was hardly able to keep up. Yes, I understand your concerns. I understand those, and I know I can understand where you're coming from and things like that. And I can understand where people with similar views are coming from, because, and that's part of the thing, the more we push people away from each other, the more stratified we're going to become. And eventually there's going to be like extreme stuff going on. I'm not saying EV is extreme, but I'm saying that, you know, the conclusions might be a little extreme. Like the conclusions that there's an ongoing, you know, effort to literally genocide, a large scale ongoing effort, which, you know, is like, I don't know. It's a scary thought, definitely, for, you know, white people, of course. Anyways, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Whew, wow, that ending went crazy. But hey, you know, that's what it's all about. Talking to people, talking to you guys. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Evie. Thanks, Ghost and Soap McTavish. I'm sorry, Ghost, you weren't able to tell me about how you survived. But I will talk to you guys later. You guys stay sexy. And adieu. Adieu.